Hello, good afternoon, everyone, or happy lunch hour, however you want to refer to it. I've got a presentation you all should have. I'm going to share my screen so you all can look at it. I'd like this to be as interactive as possible. So feel free to ask questions, put them in the chat, whatever the case may be, whatever works out easiest for you. There. Okay. All right, can everybody see that? Thumbs up, thumbs down, don't care, either way. All right. Okay. Office ergonomics. This is gonna be intended to be an overview. There'll be some pictures and references that hopefully you can use if you have questions moving forward. So like I said, I wanted to be interactive. If anyone has any questions or comments, please ask. Ergonomics is the study of work, including the tasks, the technology, and the environment in relation to human capabilities. So, and I share that because there's two things you want to keep in mind whenever you think about ergonomics, and that is the work task you're completing in your capabilities. What is comfortable to you in your physiology? What works for you as a person? And so you got to make sure you take those two things into account when you're doing an ergonomics assessment. And the second thing is ergonomics is fitting the work to the worker. So what that means is you should never feel like you have to change your positioning, your physiological approach, comfort level when it comes to performing the task at hand. You should always be able to administratively or maybe engineer a way to make the work less, not harmful, but less irritating to your body as you perform that work. So one thing to think about that is chairs, and that's something that people don't really consider or think about is the chair adjustable? Is the chair adjustable to fit my needs? Do I even have a good chair? A lot of people working from home now, I know, are not using good chairs that are ergonomically designed. So you have to keep those things in mind and take them into consideration. So here's kind of a little visual aid that kind of will hopefully mean something to you. So I mean, concerning risk factors that are common in the office, in the three most common ones we see is repetition. And so that could be typing, that could be moving the mouse in a circular motion on a regular basis, awkward posture, sustained posture. And I just noted or mentioned chairs and having good adjustable chairs. That helps kind of offset that awkward posture and makes the sustained posture maybe less harmful to your body. And then the last one is contact stress. And so what's an example of contact stress? Could be if you're using a laptop, you're putting your hands on the front part of your laptop and you don't even realize it that that contact is putting stress on the inner part of your palm. And so that's an example of contact stress. Regardless, each of these, if they are not good for you or work with your body, they cause discomfort. So that discomfort is the indicator that, hey, wait a minute, I'm doing something wrong. I'm doing something that my body doesn't like. And so then you need to go back and you need to assess, okay, which one of these is occurring and to determine what can be done to alleviate that. Now, discomfort, if it continues, if it's sustained over a period of time, will lead or could lead, but more than likely will lead to a musculoskeletal disorder, or MSD for short. And what that is carpal tunnel, tennis elbow, trigger thumb. There's all kinds of shoulder soreness or pain because you're not supporting your arms, or upper neck because you're maybe looking up at the monitor on a regular basis and you don't realize you're doing that. And a lot of that will be covered here as I go on. But, and so then that disorder is something that maybe physical therapy will help, but it could also lead to maybe surgery, something more invasive that has to be done to help alleviate that discomfort. So common causes of this distress: repetitive and or prolonged activities. This is just kind of a review. Awkward posture positions for an extended time. static postures. And so what I always encourage people to do is never sit someplace for more than an hour at a time. Even if it's getting up for 2, 3 minutes, get up, stretch your legs, get blood moving to your legs, and change the posture, how you're sitting. And one area that helps a lot with this is our sit stand desks that a lot of people use. They'll sit for an hour, stand for an hour, and they'll alternate that, and that helps. And then vibration as well. Vibration could be from a printer that's nearby. You have your CPU that is right next to your desk and it's constantly moving that desk. It could be a myriad of things that could cause discomfort. And then high-low temperatures for an extended time. Our workspace needs to be comfortable. Our environment needs to be comfortable, and that's something that is important. And then forceful exertions. One example I like to use for forceful exertions is sometimes people keep the phone away from them, and they keep it so far away that sometimes they have to overreach and overextend to get that. And they don't attach that discomfort they have in their neck at night when they go home, or their shoulder pain they have when they wake up in the morning, to possibly being tied back to those forceful exertions where you're overextending yourself. So that gets back to bring it back to what I initially said. You adjust your work for you. So your workspace for you. So if you know you answer the phone 25 to 30 times a day, have your phone next to you so you can comfortably grab it. Me, I don't generally answer the phone, so I keep it farther away. But if I know I'm going to be on it, it's for an intended purpose, and so then I move the phone closer to me. Ergonomic stress areas: eyes, neck, shoulder, elbow, wrist, hand, back, spine, hip, knee. Sometimes when you're in the office environment, people don't think about hips and knees as potentially bothering you. But what do a lot of us do when we sit? We don't know we do it, but we lean. If we're right-handed, we'll lean more to the right, put more stress on our right hip. Or if we're left-handed, it'll be vice versa. And then what do we do a lot of times? I'm guilty of this myself. Our knees, we don't keep them bent at 90 degrees. We cross them, right? We twist them. We cross our feet together. And it may not be harmful at that moment, but if that is something that you do time and time again, it could cause discomfort and then lead to a potential MSD. Okay, we're going to talk about postures and angles next. Whether your tasks are performed while sitting or standing, always maintain proper postures and angles and avoid awkward positions and extreme reaches for materials. So here you go. This is the body angle that you want to maintain. Okay. See where your head's positioned. Now, obviously, you're not going to have someone measure you. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but it gives you a pretty good indicator, an idea. And I said the rule of 90, and look at the knees, look at the hips, and look at the arms in relation to where they are to the shoulder and the torso, and see how they're parallel to the legs on that image. So you want to, all those are designed to lessen the stress on key areas of your body that are going to be making those repetitive motions or repetitive actions. Okay. And here it is in real life. So which one of these is best? Oops. Are they all okay? Well, potentially. I mean, the rule 90 isn't set in stone. Some people, if you look at the one on the far right side of your screen in the presentation, you may think, well, that person's bending back pretty far. Well, their feet are still flat, right? Their hips seem to be lined pretty well. So they're using that adjustable chair to kind of get them in a position that is comfortable for them. So, and then the one in the middle, they're kind of, see how the bottom, the pan of the seat is kind of tilted forward. So they're putting more weight on their feet. That may be a preferred method to them, but still look at the angles. They are still adequate, and they're still going to minimize discomfort and stress. Now, obviously, one thing in these pictures, just to provide a full disclaimer that we don't have that you should, is armrests. Because you shouldn't, what's happening with this is if you look at the hands and they're rested on the keyboard and there's nothing supporting the elbows, that's a stress part or a potential stress point right there on those hands. You want to put it on your lower forearm and your elbow, the pressure. Okay, so here I mentioned the upper neck issues. You see where their eyes line up completely to the top of the monitor, and that's okay. It's even okay if preferred if it's a little above the monitor, because it's natural for your head to lean down. That's just a natural motion a little bit. Obviously, you don't want to have to do this, but it's a natural motion to just gingerly or gently lean down. But it's not natural to look up like this on a regular basis. So sometimes people put monitors up too high. And that could be because maybe they're of short stature, and so their chair sits so low to the ground. And so then that's where that adjustable workspace, adjustable chairs, adjustable, monitors, tilting them like that come into play. More angles continue. Now I mentioned overreaching, right? You see that kind of gives you an angle. There's the computer, and they kind of create a space. And then the other one with the boxes, the green is a safe space, right? That's what you can easily reach. The red would be considered maybe overreaching, overextending. Now that's not to say you can't have work product in those spaces. Not saying that at all. But you need to be aware and cognizant of the fact that if you have materials in those spaces and you need to go retrieve those, you want to push back and you want to put yourself in a position to easily grab those. Maybe it means getting up and actually moving over a step, whatever the case may be. But that repetitive nature of hey, I know I use this every day, so I'm going to keep it in my green space. Great. I use this only once a week. Well, I'll keep it in the red, but I'm going to be aware, and I'm going to be, diligent and persistent, and I'm going to get up and grab that stuff so I don't put any, undue stress on my body. Now, granted, a lot of people maybe don't use phones like this. If they're on the phone a lot, a lot of people are really good about having headsets. But one thing about this, and obviously this is kind of a dated photo, that I have seen recently with newer technologies is people do the same thing with their cell phone. I see my wife do it all the time. She'll put that cell phone there. She'll be in the kitchen doing something, and just like, your neck's not meant to bend that way for an extended period of time. And so just something to be aware of, and know how long you use the phone, know what you do. These pictures are just designed to kind of give you an idea or an indication of some issues. So this person seems to have pretty good angles, lower body and stuff like that, but look how far out their arms are reached. They're too far away from that keyboard. And so what they're doing, and you can see at the bottom of it, there's arms on that chair that they should be using for support and rest. So they're creating a contact stress point right at the bottom of their hands, or palm, I should say. And then this is what we call the mantis. See, the arms are maybe in a better position, but then they're bending their wrists and keeping them bent on a regular basis. And so a lot of times when you keep your wrists bent like that, that's what can lead to things such as carpal tunnel problems, circulation issues, even issues with your thumbs sometimes. So here's a picture of an individual. They got a good adjustable chair. See what they did. They were in front of their desk working, and then they had a work product to the right that they're going to work on, and they adjusted their whole motion or setting of their chair over in front of it. So they were working in a way that was not potentially harmful to their physiology. Now, here's one that I see commonly, and that is, and granted, her arms and stuff maybe aren't in the right position, but we took this photo to demonstrate what we see, and that's people sitting across their legs while they're typing and they're working at their desk. And so all the stress of this individual's upper body is falling on the right hip and the right leg. And that's not a natural position when you are doing something that requires a lot of dexterity, such as typing or computer programming, anything like that. Okay, any questions so far? Like I said, we could sit there and talk about ergonomics all afternoon. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. But any questions so far? Anybody? I don't see anything in the comments. or chat, I should say. Or is there? Yeah, there is. Hold on a sec. Nope, nothing. No questions in the chat. Okay, no questions. I'm going to go on. One thing that we see, or that we try to encourage people to do, is do exercises and stretches. And I know it may seem kind of goofy and maybe not necessarily seem practical, but I promise you, if you do these on a regular basis throughout the day, it will help, and will help alleviate any potential MSDs that you may have or get. So anywho, first one is eye palming. While seated, brace elbows on the edge of your desk, let weight fall forward, cup hands over eyes and close eyes, inhale slowly through nose and hold for 4 seconds. Continue deep breathing for 15 to 30 seconds. So this is an example of what it looks like. Now, one other thing you can do for fatigue with your eyes, and I think one thing that's being more common is those glasses that take out the blue light. But what I also encourage people to do is not have a lot of overhead light if you can, so you have glare, but use task lighting, i.e. lamps, something that's more localized to provide light if you need it. And something else you should always do too is change what you're focusing on. So if you're looking at your computer screen and you're generally, 18 to 36 inches from it, and you're doing something, every now and then look far away out into the distance and let your eyes focus on that far away, and that will also help alleviate that stress. Here's some more examples of eye movements. Close eyes and slowly and gently move eyes up to the ceiling. Move them to the right and to the left, and that's just to kind of keep them active and get all those muscles stretched out. And so those are some other things you can do. Now we're going to talk about neck stretch. This is one I do every day, at least a couple times, if not more. And so you tilt your ear towards your shoulder, and there'll be a picture here in a minute too. Reach up and touch the top of your head with the palm to hold it in tilted position. Hold for 5 to 10 seconds. Repeat 2 to 3 times. So just like this, kind of come up, do it again, and then you do the other side. So it looks like this. Sometimes I'll even go forward a little bit and do it just to stretch out the muscles like this in my neck. It all depends on what feels good to you. If you feel that pressure's being released when you do that, it's probably not a bad thing. But you should do these every day just to kind of keep those muscles working, active, and also just because they're intended to support your upper spine, your neck. And so you want them to be able to do that and not have some sort of inconsistency or something wrong on one side that then isn't going to help support your neck. Then overhead reach, take a deep breath and reach up over your head with both arms, hold 5 to 10 seconds. Exhale and lower slowly, repeat 2 to 3 times. Hold on. So on the overhead reach, it's basically just stretching out like this. I thought I had a pick in there, but I don't. And so you're just, once again, just getting things stretched, limber, staying active. The shoulder pinch, place arms behind the head, being careful not to press hand into head. Relax shoulders and squeeze shoulder blades together while keeping shoulders back and down. And so you should try that. And this is kind of what it looks like to start. And then you just kind of, in a relaxed motion, just kind of push those back, and that helps keep everything stretched out. Shoulder shrug, just like this, sitting up and straight. Slowly bring shoulders up towards your ears. Hold position 5 seconds. Then bring shoulders down and hold. Sometimes I just do this too, like I was doing to start, is just to kind of move it, just to get things moving. There's a good visual aid if I've ever seen one. Chair rotation stretch. There's the photo, but let me give you a little narrative. Sit in a chair and place feet flat on the floor. Reach across your body and grab the back of the chair. Pull gently to increase stretch in mid-back. Hold 5 to 10 seconds. Repeat on the other side. So here's what it looks like. One modification that I do is I don't go back and reach the chair. That's not very easy for me to do. So I grab my knee. If I'm going to go back to my right, I grab my right knee and I stretch like this, and then I grab my left knee and I do that. And so then you can do that as well. That's kind of a modified version of that. Arms behind back stretch, hold hands behind your back, grasp hands together, pull shoulder blades back and down. So this, in some of these, you know what, may not be easy for you to do, may be somewhat difficult. So you modify it. You modify it so it works for you. The most important thing though is that you're doing some kind of activity and stretch and stuff like that to keep your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments in a position or in condition to where you're not going to have any stress and potential MSDs. Foot, sometimes people don't think about their foot when they're sitting there working in the office. Kind of goes with the hip and stuff too. People don't think about, hey, well, my feet are sitting there taking a lot of pressure throughout the day. So while sitting upright, slowly rotate each foot from the ankles 3 times in one direction. Once again, it's all about motion. It's all about just keeping moving. So literally you just move your foot around like that. You just stretch it around. So it's just going around in a circular motion like that both ways. Wrist flex and extended. To me, this is one of the most important ones. And this is one there's not a day that goes by that I don't do it. And it's just because we use, when we're doing any type of computer work, whether it's on a laptop, whether it's on a desktop, doesn't matter how good your ergonomic setup is, you are putting so much stress just by this motion on your fingers, your hands, your wrists. And so this kind of helps stretch all of them out. So I won't read all that. You guys can read that, but we have this picture here. See that? See how that just stretches that out? And then you can do it this way, and then you can switch it, do it this way. Okay. And that just gets everything loose. And one other thing I do, and that is I grab my hands and I grab my thumb like this, and I take my fingers around it, and then I stretch down to stretch that thumb. And then I put my arm out, then I stretch it down like this, and you can feel it all the way up your forearm, just stretch that tendon. And then I do the other hand like that and just stretch that tendon like that. See how she went down and then up? And then another one you can do too, kind of like the foot where we go round and around. You take your hands like this and you just go, your wrists, you just go round and around and then go back the other way. Now, can everyone see what I'm doing here? I'm trying, with the presentation up, I can't really see a picture of myself. Yeah, anybody? No, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, good. So does that make sense to everyone? Those are some exercises that help. And like I said, it's just an introduction to ergonomics to kind of get you started. The most important thing that I encourage people to work on is, or keep in mind is the 2 most important things. 1, 90 degrees, right? You want to be in a situated position to where you're not putting undue stress on any part of your body. So you think of the rule of 90. Second thing is just stretching. I mean, do those stretches. I promise you they will help. I know you may feel goofy, they may look goofy, but they will help. They will help out. So you don't potentially have a stress point or develop an MSD. They're not fun. So I would encourage anyone, if they could, to avoid that. One other thing I encourage people, and some supervisors kind of, that they don't appreciate me when I say this in big settings, but I'm going to say it anyways, take breaks. Get up, move. If you're a supervisor, encourage your employees to do that. It will be worth it in the end, I promise you. It will alleviate, it's good for our minds. It's good for our eyes to readjust. It's good for our bodies to get up and walk around and move. And it is absolutely essential. My wife works from home. There's not a week that goes by that I don't say, hey, are you going for a walk at lunch? Are you getting out of the house and moving around? She's like, no. I'm like, I'm telling you, it's just good for your body. It's just to change your position. And so every hour, like I noted earlier, I encourage everyone to get up and do something. move. Even if it's walking, you're working from home, walking to the kitchen and walking back, walking out to the end of the driveway, getting out, looking at, I mean, enjoying this wind. You mess your hair up and get it all frizzy. But it makes a huge difference. And guess what? Eh, Our work conditions aren't going to change anytime soon. We're all going to be using laptops and desktops for the remainder of our careers. So if anything you can do now that's proactive that potentially lessens any issues you have later on, it could be really helpful. All right. Anybody have any questions, specific questions, concerns? Anybody? No? If you are having a serious issue and you can't figure it out, we will come out and help do an ergonomic assessment in the workplace. We will not do that at your home, just so you know. I've had some people ask. You're working from home, use these pointers. And if you also go to our website, we have a lot more resources there for ergonomics that you can use if that didn't make sense, what I shared with you. And if you have specific questions, you're always welcome to reach out to me and ask. Always willing to help out. Anything? All right. Well, everyone go enjoy your lunch.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for presenting to us. Don't forget that you can redeem this workshop for occupational wellness workshop points. Don't forget to do that if you would like to. It's 1:45, just began. Trent, thank you again for presenting on this. It's a great reminder. There are a few things that I have become guilty of doing, especially working from home. I got kind of lax on it, and I was like, you know, those are good reminders. So I greatly appreciate this opportunity that you've provided us. And I will be sure to send a follow-up email and link the Ergonomics website information to it as well.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, everybody.